Okay guys, I've got a really cool thing to show you today. This is the Block of the Month picture, and you can see I've written on there colors I wanted. I didn't end up going with them. But what I found so very cool is, I'm not sure if you can see that, so I'm going to put it on front of that piece of paper. Can you see that I've drawn all of the outlines onto this piece of plastic? Get it up here where it's not quite so much glare. What I did is I took and I traced the teacup, and then the saucer, and the little bit of tea, and the cookie. And I've got everything on here. And I can erase this when I'm all done. So when I'm all finished with this, I can just go through, because it's written on with dry erase marker, I can just go through and erase this off of here. You can also use Sharpie to do this, and all you do with the Sharpie is you just put a little bit of alcohol on your cloth and wipe it clean, so you don't have to waste paper every time you want to trace out a design. I thought this was the coolest idea ever. And so what I'm doing is I'm setting up my ScanNCut so that I can put this in here. I'm just going to slide it up in there just like I would any regular piece of paper. And I'm going to mount it. And then I'm going to have it scan it. You can see here that it has scanned it completely into there. I'm going to go through the process to import that into my Brother Canvas workspace and get this all cut out. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how I cut it out. So give me just a second. Okay, and now that we have done all the work in Brother ScanNCut Canvas workplace, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in the pattern and I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Let's see if we can turn this a little bit so y'all can see a little better. All right, so now that we've turned so you can see a little better, I'm going to click on Retrieve Data, and I'm going to retrieve the data from the cloud. And all of my pieces have come in. I know that you can't see this up close, but you will see it in just a minute. Now we're going to load the mat. Okay, now we're going to put the mat on here, and we're going to load the mat. We're going to scan the mat and show it as background, so I'm going to press Start. What that's going to do is it's going to scan all of the fabric that I have on the mat. And it's telling me where my fabrics are. And then I'm going to move things to the fabric that I want them on. I know that I want that cup on that purple fabric. And I want the saucer on the fabric that I picked that coordinates with it. And I'm going to press OK. And then we're going to cut. I'm going to press Start. And now it's going to cut everything out for me on the colors that I want. Okay, it says it's finished cutting. I'm going to unload my mat. And then I'm going to lift up the fabric. My hands will let me do it. I left a dashed line at the top of this, so I'm going to get my little scissors and I'm going to cut that. Ooh, we cut the whole little arm off. It's okay, it's easily fixable. We're just going to put it right back on there. Alright, and now let's go over to the ironing mat so that we can put everything on there the way we need it. We'll be moving. Alright, so here we are at the ironing mat. And I have my fabric sitting right here beside me. I'm going to take the fabric and I'm going to fold it in quarters. I do this every time. And the reason I'm folding it in quarters is so that I can get the center of the block to be able to put everything on there. Put the iron back on the ironing board. And can you see that? Right there's my little square. Now, we need to put down our items in the order that they're going down. So this is the saucer. The center of the saucer. The teacup. The tea. And then just underneath the edge right there, I mean, so close you almost can't see the difference, is the handle of the teacup. Put my scissors in here to help me lift that up. And we do have one more item. And that is our little tea bag. And boy, do I need my tweezers today, right? All right, and that's a little pink tea bag. I'm gonna put it on there. And when I stitch, I will stitch a little stitch. I'm gonna stitch a little T on there. Now I wanna make sure that everything is centered and right where I want it. And then I say this every single time. When we applique, we do not want to iron. We want to press down. So I'm going to take my hot iron and I'm going to set it right on top and I'm just going to let it sit there for about 10 seconds. And the reason that you want to just set it on top, and I'm adding a little pressure, is so that all of that heat and bond bonds completely to the piece underneath it and to the background fabric. And I don't know if you're counting 1 to 10, maybe I got all the way there, I don't know. Still needs a little more time because it's not all down. But all you do is you just set your iron right straight back down on it. Give it a few more seconds. Now there is such a thing as doing it for too much time, as you can see right there, because it doesn't stick very well. So what I'm going to do, because that doesn't want to stick right, is I'm going to get out the glue, my Aleene's tacky glue. I know which side's the front and which side's the back, because the front of this fabric actually has a little bit of, come on glue, actually has a little bit of shiny stuff on it, and it's pink, not white. But I'm going to put that back down on there, let it sit for a minute or so with my finger on it. Want to give that glue a chance to dry before it decides that it gets some iron time. And I did put a good bit of glue on the back of that, but that's okay. And then I'll just set the iron right down on it. There's an acrylic like baking mat under here, so I'm not worried about the heat going through my wool mat and onto my cutting mat. And everything is adhered, nothing fell off. So we're all good there. Okay, I heard you say you wanted it closer. So I'm getting closer. Or trying to. Okay. Now that I've done the outside of the saucer, I'm going to do the outside of the saucer's inside edge. And I want to go to the outside of it before I start turning that curve. Inside there, because I'm coming around. Okay, and let me take that thread off of there. And I'm going to lift and cut thread. And I'm not leaving any extra threads on the back today, because I have had a couple times where they have gotten caught, and I don't want that. And next we're going to go up here and we're going to do around the edge of the T itself. I know it looks kind of gray, but I didn't have any what didn't I have? Any tan fabric. And that reminds me, I have a cookie that's supposed to be on here as well. I do have the cookie cut. I cut it from felt. Notice I stopped on the outside. Outside, turn just a hair. I did on the inside that time. And this is really, you learn how to do this from experience. It's not a, it's not learned. I mean, it's not something you instinctively know how to do. This is experience-based. And I'm going to start up here at this top little edge of the cup. I'll make that a little shorter, a little wider. To the outside, turn. And I'm going to go back to the inside here, and that's where I'm going to pivot. Then I'm going to go around the outside edge of the handle. Inside, because I'm turning. And what you're looking for really is not inside outside. It's to make sure that your sewing stays on the actual edge of your applique piece. So when you're going to turn it, what you're trying to establish is, will that next stitch that I take actually show up on my fabric, because I'm going to go back one there, if I go this direction. And that's how you determine this. It's not, to use an old cliche, it's not rocket science. Just where do you want that next thread to end up at? Okay. And then I'm going to go around the inside handle. And I'm almost turning the whole time while I'm sewing this. I did do a couple of stitches there just to lock the thread. And then we're going to go around the tea bag. And I'm just going to go around the cookie. Actually, the British don't call them cookies. They call them biscuits. And what we call biscuits, they call scones. So here is our Great Britain / UK block of the month. I'm going to add some specks to my cookie, and I'm going to write Great Britain on here with my fabric pen, and then it will be complete. Guys, so we have finished the December block of the month. This is the teacup with the purple cup and a coordinating fabric saucer. And I wrote Great Britain on there, and we've got some cookies. Now, if you like this block of the month and you enjoyed the trick that I showed you for being able to trace things out without wasting paper, please give me a like, a comment, maybe even a subscribe if you're interested. And please don't forget to go check out my friends Colleen at Colleen Sews and Chats and Sylvia at You and Me FPP. Sylvia, I'm sure, has something crazy for us this month. And I know that Colleen has got her FPP pattern up on her community page as a freebie for everybody. So go check it out. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.